Today's piece is The Sunken Cathedral by French composer Claude Debussy. It's from his first book of piano preludes, and it's prelude number 10. And he published this thing in 1910. I think he started writing his preludes in 1909, so while this is quite old for what I typically do on the channel, it's still firmly in the 20th century. So I guess I'll get into it. Also, this is our first Debussy episode, so I will read the Wikipedia article on him and say a few things that strike me after skimming that. The score I have is from Henelverlag, it's the Urtext, and I played this back in my teens. I think in high school I was learning this, and it was quite a big thing for me to learn. I think at the time I hadn't really tackled anything this size before, but it is still just a prelude. It's not like a sonata or anything. See what my notes look like in here. So this piece is famous for all of the sort of harmonic planing in it. It also has some interesting harmonic things going on. Like for a long portion of the opening here, it's just white keys, but then you quickly get into B major territory, I think, and then D flat major territory, or right. It's kind of weird in that sense, but there's a lot of long sections of just white key C major stuff. This is in C major again. So, I mean, it's hard to say what's an introduction, what is the start of the piece. We're kind of like into it at this point, because then we get this brief transition and we modulate to 4 sharps. The transition or the modulation part here is interesting because A flat turns into G sharp. So we're kind of going into C sharp minor-ish, C sharp Dorian, I have written here. But technically it would be D flat Dorian, but and harmonic spelling. So that's the next big section. Then we modulate back to C, and we have this section, which was really big. I don't know, my memory of it was that it was really long and multiple pages long, but it's actually just one page. But it's just like one harmony, right? You're just sitting on this C pedal for a whole page. So I don't know what you would call this, a coda or what, right? It's so sort of narrative that you can't really, it's hard to discern a form. Okay, a lot has been written about Debussy, so I'm not going to go crazy into his life or his works. I'm just going to talk about a few things that stuck out to me skimming through his Wikipedia. So he died at age 55 of cancer. He lived from 1862 to 1918, and his composition career was it was later in life. It didn't really take off until he was 40 years old, with the success of his first opera, Pelléas et Mélisande. This was after he wrote Prélude à Midi d'une Femme. So he was already at the end of his middle period, you could say, when people started to recognize him. So he'd been composing previously for more than probably like close to 20 years before that. And he was able to write competently enough to get through his degree at the Paris Conservatoire and to write passable music there. But by and large, his professors did not recognize his talents. They didn't really like what he was interested in writing. He was sort of reactionary against Wagner and German musical tradition. So I think that's really interesting. There's like a political aspect to what he was doing, and it was important for French nationalism, I think. Some of his influences include symbolist poetry from the late 19th century, so contemporary poetry, Chopin, the Far East, and Russian music, and then the composers that he influenced. Some of them are on the channel, featured on this channel, so we've done a lot of Bartok already. I'll just put up the episode numbers. Bartok was really influenced by Debussy. So was Messiaen, French composer, and a lot of people have compared Messiaen's music to Debussy's because of his work with modes of limited transposition. And also Boulez acknowledged a real influence, like from Debussy's music, sort of showing him at a young age what modernism in music could look like. So yeah, we've done a couple Boulez episodes. Les Six, the group of six French composers, the turn of the century, they were influenced by Debussy in the other direction. They were trying to sort of react against what Debussy was doing with French music. Honegger is a composer of Les Six that we've covered on the channel. And actually, a pretty good example of that. Honegger's music is very Germanic sounding, even though he's a French composer. So, yeah, that's about all you need to know to get started into getting into Debussy. I'm sure you've probably heard some of his music before. Incredibly famous 19th century, late 19th century, early 20th century composer. So, yeah, we'll just get into this piece of his late work, and I'll let you know what I think. I'll try not to be clouded by nostalgia listening to it again. Okay, yeah, I hope you listened along today. It's a nice little like tone poem almost. It sounds very orchestral. It's like 7 minutes. Today's listen was a bit unique because I couldn't resist taking it to the piano and trying to sight read it, so I plunked through it, and it brought back a lot of memories. It was also kind of like I was hearing it with new ears, and all the like all the things that I had confusion about how to interpret them. It was like much easier to tell what was the melody and not, and where the harmony was going and stuff. So, um, yeah, it felt very simple to play through, very straightforward. Um, I think this is a pretty attractive prelude for those reasons. It's easy to play. Um, it's easy to tell where the music is going, and there's like the big climax uh, where the piece first gets loud, right? And then that same melody comes back at the end, and it's very satisfying. So um, I did then listen to it from my phone afterwards, obviously, but I'm a little bit sleepy at the time of recording, so it was mostly just making me want to go take a nap. Um, yeah, it was interesting how the piece modulated from part to part. It felt like it was very much strung together, uh, very thinly at times. Um, but Debussy is really good at pacing. I think it was really the pacing that held the piece together. And yeah, everything just was given its proper time, I think. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Um, yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to listen to any other of the preludes on the channel. I should also say that when I was listing influences, I forgot to mention that George Crumb is very influenced by Debussy. In fact, when we looked at his Macrocosmos book one, he said that the entire project was inspired by Debussy's preludes. So that might be a nice connection to make if you want to go watch one of my episodes right after this one. Maybe Macrocosmos 1. Uh, Maybe something to consider programming alongside your Debussy preludes, even. Um, yeah, that's all I got to say about this one.